So how do you create a data product? Well, this is a very involved process, as I'm sure you all know. And if you're on the vendor side of this discussion here, you probably live this if you're in the marketing department. So I'm not going to go through each of these points here, but I will touch on elements of them. For instance, in product development, we're going to talk about architecture. We'll talk a little bit about metadata, number 3, and we'll talk about governance, number 4. And we've already talked about number 5, product provisioning. I think we need to move beyond provisioning, which is kind of, I want to request something, then I have to wait for it to be given to me, to data stores we talked about. So let's talk about product packaging. So I think there are layers of metadata in this whole process. So when a developer creates an asset, they are automatically going to create metadata. Who created it? Who owns it? What is it? When was it created? How big is it? What's the schema? You know, where did it come from and where is it stored? Okay, that's just by default almost. And if you're lucky to have a data catalog, when you put the asset or register it up there, it's going to bring a whole bunch of additional metadata, tags. For instance, you know, this record or this data set has PII data. You're going to be able to see who's using that asset, both people and downstream applications. What's the quality rating? What are related assets that I might be interested in? Is it certified by our governance team? How are people rating it? What are reviews that people are leaving behind? Can I take a look at some sample data? And then can I request access to it? That's usually what you can do in a data catalog. But when it gets into a store, I think you accumulate even additional metadata. First of all, the brand, you know, what group, product team, division, department, or company is producing this data product. Just like you, when you go into a store, you pick up a can of soup, you want to know who the maker is. I think every data product should have SKU and a version number, right? If we're going to standardize these products and make them really products, they should probably have a SKU and version number. We've talked about subscription and distribution options. Who can access what content, for how long, and what frequency, shipped to where, and what format, over what channel. Terms of service and terms of use, that's the contract, bi-directional contract. What are the obligations of the data producer? What are the obligations of the data consumer? What's the pricing, if any? Is there a cost? Is there a chargeback cost? Or is it being provided for free? And who can access this, most importantly? You have to set that up front. Who can view it in the data store? Who can subscribe to it? What portions of the product can they subscribe to? Can they view it only in the platform, or can they download it for consumption? All those things need to be defined up front. And then product usage. The data store platforms track who's using, who's downloading, who's subscribing to these products. And that information is extremely valuable to help you understand what products are popular and which are not, so you can retire the ones that are not or reconstruct them so they are popular. Well, I think this metadata is all additive. Product governance. This is a complicated little workflow. I'm not going to go through it all. But just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a number of teams and a number of governance boards to create a data product, as you can see here, especially one that's delivered externally. You're probably going to get, in your DevOps team, you're going to get operations involved. And you're going to need a product review board to understand if you want to publish this product and produce it. A technical review board to evaluate whether it's hitting the standards that you need. And it's an iterative cycle. So once customers get their hands on it, you want to gather their feedback so you can enrich the product or modify it to better meet their needs. You want feedback from the operations team that's tracking the systems usage here to understand what errors are happening is the product being delivered with the quality and consistency and performance that is expected.